everybody. I just wanted to go over your Mimio and setting it up and going through a few of the basics. So if you sit back, just watch the video. Remember, you can always pause and rewind this video at any time if I'm going a little too fast or you want to see it again. And hopefully it'll help you out. So let's jump right in. First things first, before you use your Mimio, you probably want to go to www.mimioconnect.com. Go there and create a free account. The reason is that using Mimio Studio Notebook, you can open up lessons that other teachers have already created. There's no sense in recreating the wheel. Let's say that you wanted to do a lesson on the water cycle. You can go to Mimio Connect, choose your grade, choose whatever subject you're going over, type in a topic like water cycle, and it will pull up tons of interactive lessons that teachers have already created and that you can use within Mimio Studio Notebook. So I highly recommend that you do that. When you go to this address in the top right corner, you'll see login and register. Click on that. The next window, you'll need to click it from login to create new account if you've never created a new account. If you've already created an account and you can't remember your password, you can always request a new password by clicking on that. All right? Well, the first thing you need to do is know how to connect your Mimio. Whenever you got your Mimio equipment from the library, you got a few different items. You got a Mimio Teach Bar, you got a pen, you got a USB cable, you got a USB receiver, and you also got the wall plug. Okay, so let's show you the steps on connecting your Mimio to your computer and getting it all set up. First thing you want to do is take the wall plug and connect it with the USB plug. The next thing you want to do is connect the other end of the USB cable to your Mimio Teach Bar. It's located at the bottom. It can only go in one way. Don't try to force it. Just carefully put it in the slot. And your next step is to take the Mimio Teach Bar itself, and you're going to stick it to your board. What you need to do is turn on your projector, see the area that your computer is being projected, and just like in the illustration shown here, you want to place your Mimio Teach Bar in generally the same area. After getting it all attached to the board, here are some helpful tips that will make sure that your Mimio is working properly. First thing you want to do is make sure your board is free of any obstructions. If you have posters, magnets, anything in the area of the projected area, you need to make sure it's removed from the board. The reason why is inside the Mimio Teach Bar there's a little camera, and it will follow the end of the pen. However, if you have something stuck to the board that is blocking the view of that camera to the end of the pen, it's not going to work correctly. The next thing you need to do is to make sure that your pen is kept in the pen holder when not in use. The reason is that it charges when it's connected to the Mimio Teach Bar. You'll know it's charging when the little green light in the center is lit up. And finally, make sure you don't let your students slam the pen into the board. Use light pressure. It takes a little practice for them to get used to the pen. Sometimes they get frustrated and bang the pen against the board. What that does is jam that little tip too far in, and you'll find that your pen is no longer working and it'll have to be repaired. Alright, well, once you've got it all connected, how do you know if it's working? Well, the little indicator light should go from yellow to blinking green and then to a solid green. The solid green means it's connected and everything's working fine. If you connect it up just like I've told you, it should be fine. However, there are cases where you connect it and it still goes from yellow to the blinking green and never actually gets off of blinking green, so you can't use it yet. So take a look at this quick little video, and it's going to show you how to fix that problem. So here's an important step. A lot of people will say, my Mimio is not working right now. I plugged it all in just like you said, and it's not working. So here's the solution. I'm going to unplug it from the wall, pull this plug out, and plug this directly into your computer. When you plug it directly into your computer, it's going to automatically update. See, it says installing device driver software. A window is going to pop up. It says upgrading firmware because this bar needs to be updated. And And once that bar is updated, that's pretty much all you have to do. You can pull it back out, plug it back into the power source, and plug it back into the wall. Once you've plugged it back into the wall, you'll notice that your blinking green light will go to a solid green light. After you've got it connected, you have a solid green light, and you know you're connected between your computer and the Mimio Teach Bar, you're going to need to calibrate the Mimio. If you look at the Mimio Teach Bar, there are two buttons on it besides the green indicator light. The button at the top is the calibration button. You need to press the calibration button. When you do that, take a look at this video on what you need to do once you press that calibration button. You want to press that button, and that's how you calibrate it. You take your pen, and you're going to touch to the center of every square or every X that you see. So you touch there, touch there, touch there, here, touch there, touch there, touch there, touch there, touch there, and one more time in the center, and you are now calibrated. It's very important that you touch the very center of the X. The more accurate you are, the more accurate your pen is actually going to work. If you do it real fast and sloppy and just get it somewhere in the circle, well, you might not necessarily be able to click on certain things, especially smaller things as you're working with your Mimio. Well, now that we've got it connected, we've got it calibrated, and it's ready to use, well, how can we use it? Well, here are some ways. You can use it as a big mouse. Basically, think of your pen now as a mouse. When you tap once, that's selecting an item. When you tap twice, it's going to open up items, just like double-clicking on your mouse. You can use it as a teaching aid. In a second, I'll show you some tools that are included in the software that'll help you teach. And also, you can use it interactively, meaning you can actually use the pen to write electronically on the board. Let's take a look at how you use it as a mouse. But basically, you're just going to use this as a big mouse for right now. So I can select an item by clicking on it once. I can open up items by double-clicking. So if I were going to open up Chrome, just like I double-click on a mouse, there's Chrome. Okay? If I want to close it, you normally just click once, and it's gone. So it's just like a big mouse right now. Okay, so basically, one click is going to select an item. Double-clicking is just like double-clicking on your mouse. Well, how can we use it as a teaching aid? Well, there is a second button that's on your Mimio Teach Bar. It's right below the calibration button. It is going to bring up some tools. So go ahead and press. If you go ahead and press that button, you can take a look at what type of things that are going to pop up. Once you press that button, you're going to see a little window pop up with a whole bunch of options on it. You have to realize that there are certain things on here that are unusable to us because we don't have the extra equipment that goes to it. For example, the collaborate session or the collaborate button does not work on this. The quick vote button also does not work on this. And the view button does not work on this. Those are different items that you can purchase along Mimio that work with the Mimio Teach Bar that we don't have. But let's take a look at the other items, such as screen annotation. I'm going to show you a demonstration of screen annotation in just a second. Basically, it allows you to use the pen to write electronically on the board. Okay? The recorder button, once you press it, it's going to bring up open a little window with a button on it. Once you press that button, it's going to record anything that you do on the board, such as moving your mouse, opening up different programs. It will record that whole session, and when you stop the recording, it's going to save it as a movie file. The next button says a reveal button. Well, I'll demonstrate this in just a minute, but it allows you to only reveal certain parts of the screen to your class at a time. The spotlight button does similar to that, except it only allows students to see certain parts of the board or highlight certain parts of the board that you think are important to you that you want the kids to focus on. The text tools will allow you to actually type like using a keyboard while you're standing at your board rather than having to go over to your computer. And one of the most important ones is the tools. I'll show you the tools in just a minute and what all the different tools can do for you. So let's take a look at how these are all used. So I'm going to press my tool button on my bar. It's going to bring up my different ones. Remember, collaborate, quick vote, and the view are not in order, or do not work right now. I'm going to skip these first couple ones and I'm going to go to the reveal one. So once I click on reveal, you'll notice that my screen is now black and I have these 4 arrows. Okay, if I click on the arrow and drag down, notice I'm revealing the screen wherever I want to reveal it. I can reveal it from the top, I can reveal it from the left and the right, and I can reveal it from the bottom. Okay, to close the reveal window, you just click in the top right corner where the little X is, and it'll go away. So we'll bring the tools back up again, and we'll go to the spotlight. If I click on it, you see a little round circle right here. Everything else is all grayed out. I can make that circle bigger or smaller by hovering over the edge of the circle and making it bigger or smaller. And if I hover just off it, I can now move this circle around. And basically what it's using is to make sure the students are focusing on the part of the screen that you want them to focus on. Once again, to close it, you click in the little red X in the corner, and it'll go away. Okay, next is going to be the text tools. When I click on the text tools, it will bring this keyboard up. It might not bring it up right away, so what you'll need to do is look down at the bottom. You'll see this this area right here. It looks like a little keyboard. When you first press that button, it's probably going to put it right down here with a little red X in it. Once you click on that, it will bring up the keyboard. So whenever you're using your tools later on, which I'll show you where the text key is in just a second, you'll be able to actually tap on these items using your pen and actually do that rather than be standing in front of your computer and use the keyboard there. Okay? Alright, let's go back here, and we're going to bring up our tools again. This is the toolbar that right here that is going to be most important to you. So I'll go ahead and open it up, and this little window opens up right here. Okay, there are a bunch of different ones. At any time you can have this open. Let's say it gets in your way. If you click this little paintbrush, it'll minimize the paintbrush, or it'll minimize all the tools to kind of keep it small. Okay, once you click it on it again, it'll open it up. So let's go on these. This first one here is, and if you hover over it, it tells you what it is. It's the selection tool. Let's say I'm working in Mimio Studio Notebook where I have different objects I've placed on the screen. I can use that one to select the different objects. This one right here is going to be used to zoom in. So if I zoom in within Mimio Studio Notebook, I can also zoom out. By holding down the button right here, I can zoom in, zoom out, or zoom to full. Okay, that means go back to your full screen. Alright, these next couple buttons right here, actually, let's skip to the text button. The text button, if I click it, and I click over off to the side, it would bring up a cursor, and I could use that keyboard to go ahead and write on it. Okay? In fact, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this PowerPoint right now to show you the full functions of each and every one of these. So I'm going to minimize this real quick, close that window, and now I'll be able to show you all the different functions. Let's go ahead and bring it up to the text mode. If I click right here, under the text mode, I can also use the text tools. If I go down to the bottom, see it's got a red X on it now, but if I click on it, it's going to bring up my keyboard. Okay, so I can use my actual pen to start writing words. Oh, let me click back in there. Alright, we have to pick a color here. Oh, we don't. Let me move this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Hit backspace, and we can just type words. We don't even have to go to our keyboard over at our computer. We can actually use the pen to select these letters. Alright, so I can close that, and as you can see, that's there. Now, if I want to move that word around, I can go back to the selection tool, select on the item, and I can move it around. Alright, if I wanted to zoom in, there it is right there. I can click and hold. I can use zoom out and zoom out. Okay, let's zoom back in and show you what this does. Zoom in. Now if I zoom full, it's going to give me my full screen. Go all the way back to normal and I don't have to back click. Alright, the next thing is going to be your pen. Alright, within Mimio Studio Notebook, you can use the pen anytime. As you see, I'm using the pen to write on the board. However, you don't necessarily have to be in Mimio Studio Notebook to do it. If you're in Mimio Studio Notebook, any of these tools work at any time. However, if you're not in Mimio Studio Notebook, you're going to have to go into interactive mode, which I'll show you in just a second. So there's the pen. I can choose colors. Say I wanted red. Let's say I wanted my line to be a little bit bigger. If I slide it further to the right, notice my line got a lot bigger. Okay, I can choose a different color. And once again, there is using the pen. Okay, this next button right here